What's up, everybody? It is Feel Good Friday, and my name is Megan Miles, and I help faith-based mompreneurs build #1 businesses online using my 1-hour workday blueprint. And I'm so excited because today we're going to dive into automation. I'm so excited. This is something that gets me super jazzed, and it's actually something that when I used to hear, it almost made me like, what's the word? Like I was just I didn't see the value in it. And so, because I believe that, especially network marketing, direct selling, it's a people business, right? Especially even like when I worked for Starbucks, I wasn't in the coffee business. I was in the people business serving coffee, right? And so you never want to fully lose that connection to, your customers or team members. But when you can really create leverage with systems, you can get so many more results. You can increase your results and reduce your work time, and also create more effectiveness and results for your customers and your team members. So before we dive in, let's go ahead and comment who's here. I'd love to see, drop a comment, give me a heart in the comments. It's Feel Good Friday. This is where we come live every Friday at 1 p.m. Central, right here in our Frazzle to Free community. Or if you're seeing this somewhere else, comment below, say hello. Welcome to our guests that might be watching this live stream. So I went to Starbucks today, and also took my son to the doctor, and he got these stickers. So I put a Spider-Man sticker on my cup. I'm pretty excited about it. So today's today's live is really going to be kind of a visual. I'm going to show you kind of a little bit behind the scenes of how I use automation in my businesses to help create leverage. And I'm going to read you the actual definition of automation. Are you ready? Okay, it says the use of largely automatic equipment in a system of manufacturing or other production process. So notice that this is talking like a big factory, right? But I want you to imagine your business is like a factory. And for instance, there's things that you're doing, like packing up your packages or sending one-on-one text messages that you can start to outsource, even if it means outsourcing to your kids, making it a fun activity, right? For them to stick your mommy's business cards into all the bags to prep them for product, right? Just like in a factory, you've got the conveyor belt and you've got the line workers packing the product, right? So as your business grows, do you think the CEO of the business is down there packing product? Not that he shouldn't or she shouldn't be humble enough to do that job with them, but your skill set lies within the relations with the customer, the strategizing, developing leaders, right? And so last week, we actually talked about starting to develop leaders within your organization. And the week prior, we talked about exposing prospects and sponsoring them versus recruiting them. So as we start to bring in more people, start to work with some of those people even that are, that we can develop into becoming strong leaders. Now we really have to optimize our time and use our skill sets, right? If we have leaders and potential up and coming leaders to work with, our time is not as valuable spent doing things like tracking reports, sending, tech messages, reminding each member on your call, on your team, one-on-one about a call coming up, right? This is where we can start to use systems and automation. And so think of your business like a big factory, right? You've got all the different pieces, and you've got to be smart about how you're doing things, right? And so in our course, even like we have this digital course called Magic Time Maker Bootcamp, where we teach you literally how to make time for the future by using automation, setting up systems, right? And so you want to make more time for your future so that as your business grows, your hours don't grow, right? That's what happens with most people when they get to that 6-figure income. And I know because I've experienced it, and I had to take a step back and think, okay, how can I use systems, right? Because what happens is they end up getting burnt out. Do you guys feel me? Like maybe you've experienced that with work, even like not necessarily your business. But you end up getting burnt out because you can't eventually serve all of your customers and team members as it grows, right? So I personally couldn't serve 2,000 people one-on-one, right? So you've got to think, how can you create leverage? So the first thing that I'm going to talk to you about today is using automated text. If you're not using texting services, I want to say you are missing the boat. It's so incredibly simple. And most softwares are only about $20 a month based on your team size, $5 a week, to help you buy up so much time. And I want to ask you, how much is your time, is like 1 hour with you worth? Okay. So let's take your check, for instance. Let's say that you make $800 a month in your network marketing business. And let's say you work 5 hours a week. Maybe you do the 1 hour workday blueprint 5 days a week. Okay, that's 20 hours a month. And you earn 800. Now I know sometimes you're like listening to Zoom calls or, connecting with people a little bit. But if you were to look at your actual income producing activity, it'd be about 20 hours, right? This is an example. So if you divided 800 by 20, that would mean that your hourly rate is $40. Okay. At one point, my hourly rate was like $750. So do you think that I needed to be packing packages or sending certain texts one-on-one or doing a lot of these things? No. So if your rate is $40 an hour, and let's say you're spending 3 to 4 hours throughout the month sending these messages one-on-one, would it be worth $20 to save you 4 hours of time? Yes, because in that 4 hours, you could ideally create 40 times 4 is 80, so $160. You can quadruple your profit instead, right? How does that sound? Okay, I'm a geek. I'm a numbers geek. I'm all about more time with family and building leverage in your business. And so I'm excited to show you a little bit about how I do that behind the scenes today. So there are a few platforms that I have used, and at the end of this, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the one that I've really loved, but I'm going to show you some examples of what you can do. I'm going to tell you first. So the first thing that you can do is you can create something called bots within these texting platforms. Now, what a bot is, okay, and stick with me here, because if you're anything like me, you're going to be like, oh, I'll do this later, or, oh, fine. If you can't really focus in right now and you're like, okay, make it a point after you listen right now to come back when you're seated and do some of this step-by-step with me. I'm very workshop style oriented. So like our Magic Time Maker Bootcamp is all about like doing it together or having a recording where you stop and you kind of watch the flow. And like in our workshops that we do live, we like stop and do it together, because again, going on a tangent because I'm a squirrel, because I know that from being in the industry, how many times do we get off a Zoom call, Zoom after Zoom after Zoom, and we're like, that's great, and I'm so excited, but what are the step-by-steps? And now I don't have any time because I've got to rush and running to cook dinner. I've got to put the kids down. And the next thing I know, it's the next day. And I forgot exactly what to do from the training. So I like to, every time I do a training, I like to make it as workshop style oriented as possible, so you can leave with a tangible result. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the process. So the first thing that you want to do with a texting service is you want to create, or one of the options is you can create what's called a bot. A bot is short for robot. Okay, this is basically when you see those things that says like text blah, blah, blah to 833-722, blah, 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 whatever. That's a marketing number. You can also set up a customer service number within the platform. So it's like a number from your local area. But we have one that's called Daily Inspiration. So you can text inspiration, I think. Let me look at it. Hold on. Let's look at the bot. Actually, let me share my screen. So I don't recommend, I'm going to tell you why at the end you might not want to use this platform. There's different platforms. This platform is great, but if you're using it and wanting to send like pictures and links, it's not really ideal. I'll go into that more later. But as you can see, bots, under bots, I have the daily inspiration somewhere. So really, you're not going to show me? Okay. Where is it? See, I haven't used this. I set all this myself up, but then I got virtual assistants last year and I don't even know how to use it anymore. So Daily inspiration is, I'm not seeing it. It says unnamed. Oh, customer service. Okay. So basically they text inspiration to my customer service number, which is down here. And if you want to do this, if you want daily quotes, you can go ahead and text this number right now. Text 325-238-8115. Just text the word inspiration, no quotes, no spaces, nothing. And you'll get daily quotes from me. Okay. So what's cool about that is that's me adding value to the marketplace, right? I'm not sending marketing messages through that. Like it's just adding value to the marketplace, right? So that's a bot. That's where you opt in, right? Where you're opting in, basically saying, hey, I want this. So you can set up bots for different ways. You can set them up for your team when they join. You can set them up for, if you want to do reels, like you guys are, I bet you've been wondering, how do people do that? This is how you do it, right? Are you excited? You see people be like, hey, text, Fat Blaster to blah, blah, blah for more info. Text super, super shiny skin to blah, blah, blah for more info. In their reels, like this is how you do it. It's actually really simple. So again, we're not going to get into like depth on training on the platforms, but I'm just showing you, you can set up this bot, which you create a trigger word, which basically every time the system sees that word, it triggers it to add it to a list, right? And then you can schedule broadcast texts, which are for whenever you want. Now, broadcast in this tech automation world usually stands for one time. Okay, I might be going pretty fast. And so I see a couple of comments and I'll get to them after, but I just want to know, go ahead and put in the comments, what's your takeaway so far? Okay, did you learn something? Maybe you didn't know what broadcast meant like I did when I was entered this world. And broadcast means like one time, okay? So if you're wanting to send like a mass text basically, but a one time, like maybe I want to invite everybody who's in my daily inspiration to my YouTube channel because I'm doing a live and I'm doing a live training, or maybe I'm doing a keynote speech and I want to share my live training. I might send a one-time broadcast that says, hey, it's Megan. I'm going live with XYZ inspirational training. Click here to join it. Right? So notice you can do that. So that's a little bit about bots. Once you get people into a bot, you can create what's called campaigns that you can then add them to. For instance, if someone joins a bot, you can even set up a series of questions that are something like, are you interested in A, B, or C? And based on their response, you can have them be triggered and put into an automated campaign. Now, a campaign is a series of texts or emails over a period of time. So let's say you do a 5-day campaign. Let's say it's someone for your team. They just joined. You could set up a 5. Now, leaders, listen up, because this is called leverage. Because now you can choose who you work with based on the people that are either responding or you see in action based off of this, right? Because you can't work with everyone as you grow a team, right? So you can choose, where am I going to spend my energy and efforts based on the people that are coachable and willing. So this is why it's huge. Okay, I'm not saying to ignore everybody. That's not what I'm saying. I still think getting people on Zoom, building community that way is super important. But you can set a campaign where now when they join this bot, they get entered into a 5-day campaign. That's like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. Like you've probably experienced some on your end when you joined a weight loss program or, a new software system. You're getting campaigns of emails or texts. So these are softwares, again, for only $20 a month. I think most people think they just cost so much money and that it's too confusing. But I promise you, once you get it and play with it and watch a YouTube video about it, and maybe if you're looking for hands-on support, go through the Magic Time Maker Bootcamp where we set this all up with you. You're going to be like amazed how much time you save. Okay. So that's a little bit about bots. The other thing that you can do is, and notice this button drips, this is basically campaign. So it's also referred to as campaign drips because it drips on the consumer based on the timeline of the campaign. So you could have a 30-day campaign. You can have a a campaign for 100 days. You can have a 3-day campaign. And then you can create a rule that when they're done with the campaign, they go to a new drip system, right? So it's totally up to you. You can get super crazy with this, But honestly, I just use it for the basics. Like I don't get super intense. I just use it for the basics. And here's how I currently use it too is, so I used to set up bots for the team. What I do now, what we do is we actually upload the team contacts because they're subscribing to, information. Obviously they want to be successful. So I've never had anybody say like, I don't want to know what I should be doing, right? Like that signed up. And if they don't, they can just unsubscribe. It's not a problem. But, again, I've never had anybody message me like, I don't like getting text messages from you about how to make more money or grow my business, right? That signed up for this, for a company. So now you can actually upload the contacts and then just set up broadcast messages. So like when you have team calls, corporate calls, huge announcements, like maybe there's a huge release. Maybe you're focused on driving volume too, and there's a huge release and you want to make sure everybody knows about that, or text verbiage like, hey, here's what's working, or text a training hour, a reminder to a training. You can create broadcast text to any of the lists that you have. So you can go in here and again, create a list and then upload new team members, etc. So again, I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you a little bit more here, but basically, so About Shout is one that I started with that I really like, but I'm going to tell you more about another one that I've been using that I really like, because specifically if you're sending photos or links on About Shout, they sometimes get blocked or they don't go through, or it's hard to pull up, whereas it comes through like a normal text with this other platform. So, okay, so let's kind of recap there before I dive into that part. Let's see. Okay, so go ahead, share what have you learned? Like we're talking automation right here, right? We're talking, we can even build email lists. We can even do campaigns via email for our team. Like this is something that we do. We have a whole onboarding program where now I actually work with top leaders to help them create onboarding programs because it's something that is so crucial, right? Having your systems and foundation in place. But the first thing is, right, if someone comes in, you can have them do a bot. I know you guys, my sexy writing. And actually, let's put the bot over here. So text team amazing to 833-255, that's just like whatever, right? Then you can basically create what's called this rule that adds to team list. So in your software, and then what you can do is now, I don't know, do you guys like the visuals? I'm super visual. So now you can, like whoever told me about this Zoom whiteboard thing, like is probably regretting it because I'm obsessed with it. So now you can go in and you can send broadcast reminders. So I will guarantee you that if you're wondering why no one's showing up to your team calls, that once you start doing this, you'll be amazed. And I send them 5 minutes before. I don't give people an hour notice because an hour notice, most people are like, oh yeah, I remember that's coming up. And then something happens. I send it 5 minutes before because they're like, oh, cool, let me hop on, even if it's just for a little bit. And they get some announcements, they get some stories, they get to plug in and stay around the campfire, right? The other way that you can do this, which is really cool. So let's make sure we get this. This is a bot that we're talking about, a robot where they text to opt in, right? The other way you can do this is by creating some automatic follow-up. Getting opt-ins is super important. So when you're exposing people to information, you want to be capturing their information, right? You want so that you can follow up. So can I edit this? How do I edit this text right here? Let's see. Let's delete this. Clear all my drawings. Okay. The other way is on the customer side is like this. I'm going to do this. I know. Woo! Okay. So you do text deals to 833-524. That's not even the number. Let's be honest, you guys came here for entertainment, right? So let's say you're like, oh my gosh, you're at a vendor event, or you're, at a party if you're doing it in person, or you're at a virtual event and you make a graphic, text deals or VIP to blah 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 to be the first in the know, get a monthly 10% coupon, whatever you want. Like you think, get creative on how you want to give value to this text community that you're building, your text list, right? So you can create for customers or even potential customers. But this is cool because then what happens? You guys, are you guys guessing? What you do is then every time they text, they automatically, you create a rule and they get added to a VIP list that you create. And then maybe you have like a welcome. You have like an automated welcome drip or just message. It could be a one-time message, and it could be like, hey, it's Megan, so excited for your VIP. Here's your first 3 steps to get the most value. Step 1, join my VIP community. Step 2, watch this quick video. Step 3, respond back and tell me what you love about what your first purchase or whatever, right? Because then we're going to talk about triggered engagement in a minute. Okay, then what you can do from there, the last step is you can send broadcast texts. So when you have a new release coming out, or when you want to do a special, you can send out a special. Now, I'm not saying not to message people personally, but as you grow your customers, is it ideal that you're gonna be able to message every customer about every new list or every new product, right? You're not. So this is the structure of the bot. So text deals to this, then you can add them to a list. Then you can create an automatic reply. Like once they text, they get a reply with like step 1, 2, 3. Then you can send occasional broadcast texts. Or you could even down the road, create a new campaign drip and say, hey, I want this new campaign drip to go everybody on this list starting today or tomorrow. Cool. If you got it, say got it. Say, I got it. Okay. Now, triggered engagement. What do I mean by that? This is what I like to call the sweet spot. You guys, there's a sweet spot. I don't ever want to say, oh, you can build your business just on automation systems, or you can build a successful business just on relationships, because that's not sustainable, or like in-person contact, right? You want to have a sweet spot. And here's the sweet spot. You can create engagement with your customers by triggering them to respond to you. So for instance, I did this earlier today. I sent out a message and I said, hey, it's Megan, wanted to see how you're liking your products. Did you ever get a chance to try blah, blah, blah that I asked you about? Because we have a special today. I didn't say this in the message yet, but I said but in my head, I'm like, we have a special today. So I want to know if they've tried it or not, or if they're interested. It's like, hey, have you tried this super cool, amazing product for energy? Well, I ended up getting some responses, and it's cool because you have an inbox. So now you can go to your inbox and you can see, oh, yes, awesome. Okay, so I got another reply, but I basically responded to all these people that had replied back. There were like 8 people who replied out of like 68. Okay, so again, actually 28 out of like 30 customers responded back. That's actually pretty good response rate. So again, just within 2 or 3 hours later. So some of these people, I started going back and forth just about like, a couple, just like even life stuff. Like we got into a conversation, right? And then it ended up with saying, yeah, I do want to try that. Or, oh, I need to reorder. Can you help me? Or whatever. So this is transpiring into sales. So again, I'm not just mass texting them, buy now, buy now, buy now, right? That's not the goal of this. The goal is to, give some useful, helpful information, create engagement. About once a month, I create, just basically, hey, just checking in. It's Megan. How are you liking your products? So then they can tell me more, and then I can have more one-on-one conversation with them based on their response. Are you guys getting this? If you're getting it, put getting it in the comments. And I know I'm like, because, I just could go on and on about this forever. This is the sweet spot of marketing, where you're creating the automation systems and you're triggering your customers to engage with you so that you can deliver true, genuine one-on-one service, feedback, support, help them get onto more products, etc. So that's what I like to call the triggered engagement. Okay. So, and then we talked about, again, we talked about setting up the list. So let's delete all these. So then what you could also do instead of the bot, if you're like, no, I just want to automatically upload, like, let's say my team, which I would do. I wouldn't do the bot thing for team anymore personally. Is I would do automatic because they want it, right? But with customers, you know, you might want to get them to subscribe to a VIP, or you might at least just want to automatically upload them to like a super simple campaign where they're going to get like just quick tips about their product, because I'm sure that they're going to enjoy that. Because if someone's buying a product, they usually want as much information about it on how they can be successful with it. Like, especially if you're in health and wellness, I would definitely recommend. But if you're wanting like some personalized support around creating your campaigns, you know, reach out to me. That's a service we offer. But you know, that's kind of the base, like for health and wellness. If you're struggling like on how you should do that, you can set up a consultation call for something like that. But okay, so the other option is you can automatically upload. Okay. So you can automatically upload contacts. And I do this weekly. You can also, based on the growth of your business, you could do daily, you could do twice a day. I know leaders that do twice a day. And let's just say then you add them to a list, right? You add them to a list and you call it team members or customers or VIPs, whatever it is. Then you can, again, send an automatic or create a rule that puts them into a drip upon adding to list. So basically what that says is every time a new person gets added to the list, they automatically get these 5 drip texts over the next 10, 20 days, right? Again, and pro tip, I create everything in Google Drive. If you're not familiar with Google Drive, I love it. I create a Google Doc and I create all of my content in there before I upload it to platforms. Okay, always. So it's also going to be easier for you to like get the process out right there, and then just for down the road for content purposes, because then it's easy to switch platform if you ever need to, etc. So you create a rule. So then it's like, okay, I add my team members weekly. Then they get added to a list, which is called team members, right? Then you could create a rule that every time they get added, they get like this 5 new text messages that's like, hey, welcome to our team. Here's step 1, step 2, step 3, just adding them into the company and team resources, super simple, so that they're not reliant on you for some of those basic questions, because you can save a lot of time that way. Then you can, of course, send broadcast messages. So it's cool. You can do this with, again, customers. So if you add new customers, people who purchase from you every week, you can upload them to a list. And right when they get added to that list, they go through a series of like 3 texts, you know, within a week that basically say, hey, I'm blah, 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 your distributor. I'm so excited. I mean, share your story with them, be personable, and then just give them some tips. Don't try to resell them on anything. This can add value to them. And then you can go here and you can start to create some curiosity about more products too with broadcast messages. But here's what most people don't understand is they're like, oh, well, I only get X amount of replies. Well, you are nurturing people, and you want to nurture people from as many platforms as possible, because psychologically you're priming them to buy. So they may not respond to your text, but they saw it. And so when they see you live in your VIP group, they're more likely to be like, oh, I want to see what she's up to. Does that make sense? And they see your email and they see your Instagram posts and your TikTok. And, you know, that's why you want to nurture your audience from as many automated platforms as possible, especially, but, you know, and be on different social media platforms. Okay, takeaways, any questions? You guys put in the comments. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful. This is just some of the beginning of the automation. Next week, and I'm going to tell you, so if you are excited and ready, first off, to start automating, because just put automate in the comments. Like, you're like, automate, just get excited, put automate in the comments. And if you are really excited and you're like, okay, I want to start diving in, seeing what platform I can kind of use, I want to recommend PB is like one of my favorites. And actually, if you put PB, like peanut butter, or you can spell out peanut butter in the comments, will actually send you the platform deets. And let's see. I'm looking at what our meeting for next week is. Our meeting. Why do I keep calling this a meeting? Feel Good Friday. It's not a meeting. So you go ahead and put peanut butter in the comments. I just like that so much better, you guys. PB, peanut butter in the comments. And we're going to show you the platform that we use. Again, I think it's like $20 or $25 a month based on, of course, like how many messages you send. But right now I'm only at $25 a month and I send a fair amount. So, okay. So next Friday, let's see, we're going to do June. Let's see. Next Friday, we are going to talk about Feel Good Friday trainings. This is September. What are we talking about next week? Let's see. Oh, this is good. Okay, so then we're going to talk about how to create residual pay off your parties. So we're going to talk more about how to create more passive income through the work that you're doing right now and taking automation to the next level. So got some amazing trainings lined up through the holidays already for you guys. I'm so excited. We watched Christmas movies. Do not judge me, but we watched Christmas movies last night and it was a blast. So I hope that this was helpful. Again, automation, why automation? And why listen to me? Well, I've built several brands now actually using automation. I've developed a 1-hour workday flow. If that doesn't speak anything to you, I'm all about increasing your productivity, right? So this is something that I've kind of, oh my gosh, look at that mess back there. This is something that I've been exposed to for almost 10 years. And so I feel like I've finally dialed it in after years of trying to figure it out and like trying different platforms. And so I'm just going to give you some shortcuts. If that's cool, put shortcuts in the comments. And we're going to start automating. And I just want you to start with one thing. Don't get overwhelmed, okay? If you are just looking to create more orders from your current customers, just start by setting up a VIP list text, right? Just start by uploading your, customers' info from your back office and starting to like get them plugged into more tips, etc. Okay. And the other thing is, so be simple, think about just pick one thing. If you're a leader that's like, I don't have so many people are messaging me questions about this, we probably got to set up an onboarding text campaign. And especially if that's you, if you're that type of leader that's feeling that way, please message me personally because I've been there. I get it. So we want to see how we can support you with that, but just pick one thing that you're going to start to do and just carve out an hour, go figure out the system. It's pretty darn simple. If you can figure out email or Google Drive, it's probably pretty simple for you. And if not, we can hook you up with a virtual assistant who can do it for you. Yeah, so I hope that this was helpful. Again, how many times am I going to say that? I got to get off to a church event. I hope that you have an amazing Friday. It's Feel Good Friday. So go out, do something that makes you feel good. Let's grow our business. And I will see you in your inbox tomorrow morning for Saturday morning with Megs and Anthony, Saturday morning cartoons with Megs and Anthony, where we give you our weekly update and we give you some free resources, and we'll have the replay in there as well. So hope everyone has a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.